Serious, what is something you need to vent on, but you don't do it for fear of being judged? My oldest son, 4, and his autism. Love him more than life itself, but lord he's freaking infuriating and hard work, especially during the lockdown period. He thrives on routine and all the crap he likes to do is closed, so every day is a broken record of him running through crap he wants to do. Wife and I explain they're closed, need to stay indoors, etc. But he just doesn't understand and thinks I'm being a peen by not taking him to his things he likes. I mean, he can't even spend time with his grandparents or cousins. Barely sees them now, except through a window in short bursts, so that's another issue which saddens us all. He has very little opportunity to blow off steam, point and self-regulate, as he doesn't want to go out unless it's for something he wants to do, like go to the park, which, shock, he can't because they're closed. Wakes up at 5:30 in the morning, which wakes up my youngest son, 1, and the day begins, and it's so long. He never pauses for breath and it's a constant stream of demands all day long. Plus you're juggling THS with a, rightly, temperamental 1-year-old and a wife in a constant battle with depression. People usually say something like, oh, kids are hard, but, you know, you wouldn't change them. I would. I love him, but if I could suddenly make him not autistic anymore, I would in a heartbeat. I'm in a similar situation with my 8-year-old daughter who has ADHD. I love her so much, but I just don't get a break as a single mum. She obviously understands more than your 4-year-old, but still constantly asks when it'll be over. Can she just go to the park for 10 minutes? Can she just go to the trampoline park for a little bit? Why can't she have a birthday party? Why can't she see her friends? Why can't Nan and Pop come over for her birthday? It's just constant, every single day, on top of having to keep her entertained. I'm just glad it's school holidays, so I don't have to teach her as well as work from home and study full time. I also have ADHD, so I understand the compulsion to ask and the boredom, but it's already so hard for me to work and study, and then on top of that constantly entertain her. I will be so happy when this quarantine ends. You have my sympathy and support, friend. Completely understand. If you ever fancy blowing off steam for a real rant, I'll be here. You've especially got it rough as the only parent in the home and flying solo. Take care. I'll be here. I'm 17 years old, and I'm from South Africa. Our originally 21-day lockdown got extended by another 2 weeks. Let me just say that I'm blind, but that doesn't really affect me in any way. I'm not the most independent person, that I will admit. This is not by choice, it's how I was raised. Every single time I would try and ask someone to teach me something, they would always give a reason why they couldn't or shouldn't. If I asked someone to teach me how to make coffee, they would say no, you're going to burn yourself. That honestly doesn't bother me. Now that I'm 17, everybody expects me to be independent. I understand where they're coming from. It's so hard. I get talked down to by members of my family who just do not understand. I hate it. I always get picked on, probably because I'm the youngest, and my blindness might have something to do with it. I'm a gamer and I try use them to escape. I feel so alone. Edit. Many people are wondering how I actually managed to type this. Let me explain. I use something called a screen reader. This is a piece of software that reads everything that is on the screen. Normally I would be typing on my laptop keyboard, but since I'm using my iPhone, I use dictation. It just takes too long to type using the iPhone keyboard with voiceover. How do you game if you are blind? No offense meant, I'm just curious. Hi guys. Thanks for the comments. Let me explain. Sometimes I play something called an audio game. They are games, but the visuals replaced with sounds. If I ever play mainstream games, I normally just run around and kill stuff. Thanks guys. I'm happy I don't get to see any of my family for Easter. I don't have to choose which family I visit this year. No one is guilt tripping me on why I chose to go to my husband's family this time, or the other way round. I don't listen to my mother who complains about the amount of work and then on how much of it goes to waste, and she never learns. I didn't participate in shopping craze, which is especially difficult this year and absolutely unnecessary because I already have loads of food at home. Holidays were cancelled for me, and it is a dream come true. But I have to pretend that I'm sad and disappointed because if I didn't, I would break some hearts. I'm happy Easter is cancelled. So much social interaction I don't want or need. I don't have to listen to judgments about my life choices or comparisons between me and my sister and our cousins. I can go to bed at 6 PM like the depressed grandma I truly am. Being in shape is a condition of my employment. I have access to 4 separate gyms with all the equipment I could need, but they are all closed. I mentioned this to a couple people, and they said my personal problems aren't as bad as the people dying from this coronavirus. Yeah, I know. I wasn't turning it into a competition, nor was I downplaying the deaths of people. I'm simply irritated I can't work out the way I want to. I get exactly how you feel. I'm sad that the coronavirus is preventing me from doing X. PSSH. Stop complaining. You don't have it nearly as bad as the people dying from coronavirus. Like, yes, none of my coronavirus related problems come even close to the problems of people dying from it. I wasn't trying to upstage them. I just wanted to vent about an immediate problem I was personally facing. Next time you complain about how you were stuck in traffic, I'll be sure to remind you that your personal problems aren't as bad as the people dying from traffic accidents. Have you seen the post going around about how high school seniors shouldn't complain about their senior year being ruined because in the Vietnam War era there were seniors being drafted and sent to die? Pisses me off every time because people can and should feel sad when their life is suddenly turned upside down. I want to tell someone in my family about my anorexia, but I genuinely feel like they're the kind of people that don't understand eating disorders. Don't get me wrong. I don't need them to know everything. I just need empathy and to know that somebody cares. But if I told them I feel like the things they'll tell me are, just eat. It's not that hard. You know, I had anorexia before. I felt self-conscious and didn't have my appetite for like 2 days. It's your fault for letting this happen. But you eat. How can you have an eating disorder? You're already skinny. Why would you starve yourself? But you're not thin enough to have an eating disorder. I know that some people don't know what to say or how to react when someone tells them about their eating disorder. I don't need a full-on therapy session. I just want to know that they care about me. Hey, I've been there. I'm still in recovery, but I'm doing much better than I was. I know how hard it can be, and I, from the bottom of my heart, hope that you can be happy and free from it one day. It really does take over your life, but trust me, if you decide to recover, life gets so much better. If you need some support, there's the great folks over at r/ed Anonymous. It's basically a community of people with all kinds of eds, and is really supportive. Thanks, it's nice to know that I'm not alone in this really dark place. Super unpopular statement incoming. Healthcare should be rationed. I'm a nerd document. Do you have any idea how many demented 96-year-old grandmas and grandpas I've intubated and sent up to the ICU on a ventilator when they come in septic/dying of a head bleed after a fall/with a stroke/whatever? I lost count years ago. These people spend days/weeks/months on a ventilator in the ICU, and 95% of them die there. The amount of resources spent on these patients is beyond absurd, but because the family wants you to do everything, you keep them up in the unit doing what I feel amounts to medical torture simply because people can't get over the fact that their baseline severely ill family member will eventually die. This was before the COVID-19 epidemic. Now, I'm playing ventilator musical chairs because that same demented 94-year-old who was screaming over and over that she won't let the nurse touch her eventually got intubated and is now taking up a ventilator that I had planned to use on the really nice 45-year father of 2 who's desaturating. We still have enough vents in my town that I can transfer the 45-year-old out to somewhere that has a vent, but the fact that I even have to do so that I can keep racist granny alive another 5 days is beyond infuriating. Amen. I think it should be part of the general curriculum in later grade school to show people just what it means to do CPR on someone. You want me to do everything? Okay, I'm going to break your 90 pounds grandma's sternum and ribs, shove a tube down her throat, and keep her heart beating with enough EP to reanimate a dinosaur, just so they stay alive to the point where you realize she's not going to return to the way she used to be. Don't even get me started on people who ignored the social quarantine orders and went ahead with their weddings and spring breaks as if they were invincible, or the anti-vaxxers, because this is the world they wanted. They forfeited any chances of life-saving measures when they made those choices. I'm fed up of my 8-year-old during quarantine. She's 8. I'm not 8. I don't find 8-year-old things funny. I'm not interested in 8-year-old things. But she's a sharer, and I have to hear about them 24/7. If it's not that, it's having to explain what I'm doing at any given moment. It's becoming excruciating. I just want to have adult conversations again. I just want to be able to do the dishes without having to listen to a broken description of a physical joke from a kid's TV show. That probably wouldn't even have been funny if I saw it in person, which I probably have 12 times. Having a similar struggle with my girlfriend's son. It's very difficult to explain to a 4-year-old that, as an adult man, I'm not all that interested in spending my whole day either playing Roblox with him or playing with toy monster trucks. Neither am I all that keen on being Knuckles when he puts his Sonic outfit on and asking me to do those things every minute, then crying if I say I don't want to, isn't going to convince me that I do. That being said, there is a certain pride to be found in the fact that he wants to be around me, he wants to play with me. Compared to where we were about a year ago, check my post history, I'm pretty proud of that. I think defeated stepdad in a too small Knuckles costume is going to be my Halloween costume this year. One of my best friends has depression. I'm constantly checking on her, asking her if she's okay, offering to help, listening to her talk about her problems. I have been since middle school, and I still am now. Last fall I had a horrible bout of anxiety. I was having panic attacks twice a day, and I lost 15 pounds from not eating. I would say that's the closest I've ever been to killing myself in my life. I tried to talk to her about it, figuring she would understand what I was going through, and that she would be someone I could lean on during one of the worst times of my life. All she could ever said was lol same when I told her what I was going through. I understand depression can cloud your interactions with other people, but it just made me so angry that I had spent years being there for her, and the one time I needed her, she wasn't there for me. Remember that someone with depression might not be equipped mentally to help someone else out. As you know, it's hard enough being depressed on your own. Her not being there for you might not have been personal at all. Just her inability to handle her depression and your situation as well. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Just because someone is very informed about something doesn't mean they're the person you should talk to about it. In this case, while they might have the knowledge, they likely don't have the mental resources to actually discuss it. I wanted so hard to reply or just vent in my own post, but I always feel insecure about my English. Even with a lot of people told me that my English is okay, but I don't feel that way, and it's a big problem because I can't practice my English because I have fear to write, and it's worse when it comes to talk. So I'll just vent now. I'm absolutely tired of how my family treats my mental disorders, like I have Asperger's syndromes, and more important, generalized anxiety disorder. And my life has been absolutely trash, only because this disorder. I was diagnosed only 7 months ago, and now, I'm much better with antidepressives. But, my family always criticizes me, literally, and there's no point of discussing with them. I was supposed to be in college this year, but, I don't. Because I couldn't study anything for the admission test, I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't do literally anything more than procrastinating, because my thoughts were absolutely horrible. I just wanted to do anything, to have my mind busy, and to not think about my problems. I had a serious addiction to video games and internet because of that, but I'm now only addicted to internet, and I'm a lot more productive and happy now, yeah, with antidepressants. But my family didn't understand that I have literally a mental illness, and it's frustrating. I cried a lot for criticism of my family. Things like family events were horrible, and I always tried to avoid them just to don't hear them saying this, like he doesn't do anything, and now he doesn't want to be in the college my mother say wants this. He invents his illnesses to someone, literally for no other reason than hurt me, and I had to act passive and just be silent because I just don't wanted to cause a discussion in public. But yeah, I discussed with her later anyway, but it doesn't change anything. Literally, almost everyone in my family have criticized me, and they always talk bad about me. I just wish they could understand that I have a mental illness someday. They can't understand how hard it is to have an anxiety disorder, and instead of trying to understand, they just criticize me instead, and waiting that I'll be better for some reason. Yeah uncle, saying that my anxiety it's because I spend a lot of time in internet doesn't help. Sorry for my English, again, and if you read it all of this, thank you. At least, I have really good friends, and they understand me, or if they can't, they at least hear me. IDK what would happen to me without them? Here's your silver lining, you wrote over 5 paragraphs. I read it all. I understood it all. You had some typos and some grammar errors, but I understood all of it, and it was brave of you to face that anxiety. So basically, you did well. Take the win. Basically I'm a huge outdoor nerd. Every time my family go on holiday we camp, even in other countries etc. And I'm involved with scouts/explorers, so I'm always going on camps. I've been doing 8-figure grid references from when I was 11. Basically I love wild camping and map reading, all that. It's something I would almost rather die than never do again. Basically at school the time came around for the School Duke of Edinburgh (DOFE) program to start. If you don't know, DOFE is basically a course where you have to show skill, courage and learn new things etc. I'm doing it outside of school with my friends at Explorers. So anyway, almost everyone in my year signed up for the program because it's supposed to look good on a college application/CV plus. People's parents are keen for them to do it. Involved in HE course is a one-night camp. They do it twice because there's a practice version. They did the practice about a month ago, and this is where my rant starts. Basically everybody threw they were adventure goddesses afterwards. It just made me off so much because they all came back to school on Monday saying things like, "We slept in tents, and it was so funny. Basically this person unzipped the tent the wrong way, haha." And I would talk to them about it and stuff because they were clearly enthusiastic, and they were saying how they had to read the map themselves, and they would tell me their little tips like, if you ever go camping, don't pack pajamas because you won't wear them. Basically tons of stuff that is nothing new. I didn't really say anything about the fact I've done what they just did so many times. I kept it to myself, but it just made me off so much, and I know it's pathetic. Like the next day in PE we did compass work and orienteering, and a group of the DOFE students refused to do the same work as the rest of us because it was too easy, and they've already spent a whole weekend doing it. I just wanted them to piss off because they acted like the rest of us actually found it hard. Plus the place they hiked was on the outskirts of a city, so our emoji rant over. At Air Cadets, when I was about 16, we were doing our bronze, and we failed because we got lost on our expedition because our corporal couldn't read the map, took us miles out of our way, and everyone followed him because the popular girl, who was already dating someone else in the squadron, sucked up to him because she fancied him. I was so freaking mad about it. Argh, that's so annoying.